Hello, everybody, welcome. Rose a psych investigator. Hello, huh. So, guys, today is Sunday. I did not do videos Friday or Saturday, and here we are today. And it's interesting, guys. Sometimes I think it was for me. It was that time of the month, and it was also. I think sometimes you get tired of all the stuff that's going on, right? I think it's healthy to take a little break. But since we're looking at what's going on in the world together. Just get my crystal here 1 second. That's what we're doing. Okay, so I got a little pillow. Interesting. So I can rest here, my head, as I'm very close to the screen. So okay, so let's get some crystals here. Okay. So let's do protection. I like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head. As I breathe in, I feel my lungs. As I breathe out, I create a circle. I create a circle, step into it. Step into it, I feel protected. Step into it, I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it creates the good, and only the good for the good people, the good for the good people. So here we are. Now, let's get started with some topics, and information will flow. Will flow as I address each topic. And I wanted to say, people have been sending me some video. I may bring it to Karina on Tuesday of some guy on some TikTok with Trump or something. But guys, I really urge you not to fall for magical thinking. I know so this man slipped a piece of paper to Trump. And even on the comments, they give the person's name. You can look him up. So I don't think it's, given how transactional he is, uh, it's not like I'm not super, what I mean? There's not much there, I don't think, but we'll look into it later, another time. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to the next subject. Next subject. Now, UK investigates possible Russian involvement in Starmer arson attacks. Counterterrorism police looking into fires at properties connected to Prime Minister keep open mind about motive. British security officials are investigating whether Russia may be involved in 3 arson attacks in properties connected to Sir Keir Starmer, according to senior Whitehall figures. The attack on the UK Prime Minister's family home in Kentish Town, North London, along with a car and a residential property that the Prime Minister previously owned, took place earlier this month. 2 Ukrainian men and a Romanian national have been charged with conspiracy to commit arson with intent to endanger life in connection with the fires. Police have said the trio conspired with others unknown. The senior White House figures said UK officials are investigating whether actors in Russia may have recruited the trio accused of starting the fires. They said discussions are being held on how to best respond if that is the case. Okay. So that is the situation, guys. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, right? To the point where, like, why it is troubling. It is not surprising, right? But the question is, what is going to be done here? Okay, like really, it's frustrating because we know that obviously UK is a member of NATO. We know that there are resources, right? But this mass continue. I really don't understand why nothing is done. So I'd like an explanation here, first of all. And it's very much a message, right? So they cannot attack the prime minister's official residence. right? Which is 10 Downing Street for probably security reasons, but they do that as a message, right? So what is going on here with and I see Putin say, yes, us, and saying I can and I will. And you know what I'm reminded of, guys? There was, of course, in the think of 70s and 80s, the IRA, Irish Republican Army, attacked a lot of places in London. And when you think about it, like that's if the IRA or another group had done something like that, you'll call it what it is. But somehow the whole Russia thing, it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It's strange to me the way that they sort of like just can get away with stuff like this because they are state actors, right? Okay, so what is happening? That's they know. They have the communications. They can access that in the computer, in their computers, right? And I see somebody from that region that has a lot of the region of Ukraine that's occupied by Russia. And they can put pressure on people to do things or they will harm their families and such. Okay. So what is happening? That's right. So what is Keir Starmer going to do? What is NATO, if anything, going to do? See, sending jets, getting ready. But the US relationship with Russia seems to complicate things from their perspective. So what is going to happen in the relationship between Russia, the next, by the end of this year, between now and the end of this year? Continuing to push forward. The UK will not back down. They will arrest Russians, take over that's right. And they will push to sell or to take over their properties in London. You know how they have a lot of those. Okay. Economic warfare, that's what they will do. And then I asked, what about Trump and even JD Vance when they see these, because they have taken essentially Russia's position, which is to damn Europe and forgive, give nothing to Russia. I'm sorry, do nothing to Russia. And Trump recently had these like temper tantrums and said he's going to increase the tariffs against the EU and give and Russia has zero tariffs. Meanwhile, okay. So okay, so tell me. I still get that Trump is going to push for eventually the direction this is going is that Trump is going to push for the US military to support Russia. And that is going to be the breaking point. Okay. But it does appear again, it's frustrating that nothing is done right now as far as um, an attack on Russia directly. I do see the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, on high alert. I do think that once Trump goes and with the downfall of Trump, consequences come. And again, I I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't see Mark Rutte moving when Trump is in the White House because I see the situation is extremely volatile. So I have a question, but Ukraine is suffering tremendously. But they're arming Ukraine and they're sending troops to Ukraine. They're doing things, and that's why Russia is upset. Remember how it all started when Russia believed that they would take over Ukraine in 3 days or something, or like in a week, and it did not happen. Not only it didn't happen then, it's not happening now. Like they're they're very aggressive, but they're not winning in the way they thought they were winning or they would win. And Europe has taken it up to defend Ukraine. That's there for sure, 100%. So okay. All right. So let's go to the next subject. Okay, so this is something that happened, I think it was Friday, was it? Right. And I don't know if somebody sent this to me, not this particular, from this particular newspaper, but it happened right after Trump had a call with Putin. Okay, so, this reminds me of something else. So I was just discussing the what Trump did to the National Security Council, NSC, right? That he'd made cuts. And this is right after the Trump-Putin call. And here we have Steve Rosenberg, a Russia editor for BBC News, discussing how the Russian papers are celebrating. Trump's stance couldn't be more advantageous to Moscow. Trump is our ideological partner. Another paper tells European leaders just breathing the smell of the new world order. Okay, so, and then we see that the horror that happened last night in Ukraine, that there was, of course, terrible attacks overnight. Okay, so let's go back here to Trump then purges dozens of National Security Council officials. Supporters say move is designed to step body with MAGA aligned people. But it's interesting, guys, honestly, if you stop and think about Trump and what he's really doing, I think there's two things. One is to really destroy the American economy. And the second, which I think is at the core of everything, is creating a world that Putin wants. Because ultimately, I think his decisions are really not about benefiting Republicans necessarily. They're about benefiting Putin. And you can see how people like Josh Hawley are so, they're upset at the Trump administration because they're not helping. They're not sending FEMA to Missouri. They need help. And he's not doing anything. He's in fact harming his own voters, but I think that's what he wants, right? That's very clear. So that's this that I wanted to say this part. And now let's go back to the cuts in the NSC that happened right after the call that Trump had with Putin. Like, it can't be a coincidence, in other words. Okay, so the move comes 3 weeks after Mike Waltz was fired as Donald Trump's first national security advisor, the top position at the NSC. Trump has dramatically shrunk the White House National Security Council by firing a number of officials, placing others on administrative leave, and ordering many secondees to return to their home agencies. Several people familiar with the firing said the NSC, which is being run temporarily by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, had retained some staff, mostly senior directors, while eliminating dozens of positions in the office. The move, which one person described as a liquidation, comes 3 weeks after the president fired Mike Waltz as his first national security advisor, the top position at the NSC. The officials who lost their positions were notified on Friday afternoon. The move followed weeks of speculation about an imminent purge at the NSC. NSC Chief of Staff Ryan McCormick emailed the officials shortly after 4 p.m. to tell them they had 30 minutes to remove their belongings from their desks and to exit the NSC building next to the White House. Wow. It was unclear if Alex Wong, the deputy national security advisor, had been dismissed. Laura Loomer, a right-wing conspiracy theorist who helped persuade Trump to fire Waltz, has also been gunning for Wong, who is a well-respected official with hawkish views on China. Okay, so let's stop share here and just ask, what happened? What is the goal? Was Putin behind it? Right? Because again, what would if Russia were to design a weakened US, that's definitely something. It's interesting. Right. All right. So let's see. So that's right. So it's saying they're telling, I see Laura and Putin telling Trump, and people is saying may not even be Putin directly, but people close to Putin telling Trump to fire these people because they are part of the group that supports US interests. And he's being told, oh, these are the so-called deep state, they are working against you. And when we have a weakened National Security Council, we have weakened US policies and acting on behalf of US interests. Okay, so I have to ask this question, guys. So what happens now that these people are fired? Are we going to be under, I'm just, I guess the question is an attack, is there going to be an attack on the US? What are we going to lose by losing these people? And how much damage will this do to us? That's right. All the interests, there will be less advocating for US interests so that Russia could be free to take up that influence, Russia and other countries as well. The weakening of US influence all over the world as far as security matters are concerned. I do think, guys, that even though it hasn't quite happened yet, I think their goal is to create some sort of false flag operation to then almost have weaker radars or weaker ways of detecting or fighting against these attacks directly. Okay, so my question is, if they attack us, will they succeed? No, they will be gone. They will, something they will try. I think that's their long-term agenda, but I think Trump will be out by then. Okay. Okay. So So I have a question to Spirit, really. How how can we keep going? I mean, I kind of think I know the answer, but how can we keep going when we see all the bad stuff he's doing? What is the consolation here, if any? What can we focus on while he does all of this crap? Focus on Kamala coming to power, claim the truth as coming out. It's saying that you have to work on mentally weakening Trump and him being exposed and going to prison or being detained, and the people that are working on his behalf in whichever agencies being detained and taken out from their positions. Blame justice. Justice is happening now. What will counter their actions, if anything? It just tells me that they are not as weak as they are. They're not as strong as they appear. That all the gesturing and all the media is playing a big part. Yes, they are doing these very harmful things, but they are not going to last. And what they will do is show us what we need to strengthen next time. Uh, Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about, I think honestly, it was one of the things that really I found extremely depressing, and I needed to take a break from this. It's the whole story with Harvard. My mom was an Ivy League professor, not at Harvard, but another Ivy League university. So it's sad. It's sad to see the situation. It kind of like feels like hitting home, even though she's retired. It's very disturbing, right? So this was on Thursday. This happened, and on Friday, the Harvard had already gotten the judge sided on the side of Harvard, preventing that. But imagine all these foreign students that come to the U.S. A lot of universities depend on foreign students for paying tuition, and what happens is it will attract a lot of scientific talent. Is not like it's attracted away from the US. These people are going to think twice about coming here, considering that there's so much instability. Okay, so and this is done on purpose, right? To kind of attack to destroy the US position as an advanced nation with advanced higher education institutions. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see. Let me show you. Let me show you the latest. Trump again blasts Harvard over international students as judge blocks revocation. President Trump is again targeting Harvard University days after his administration's move to revoke their school's ability to enroll international students was blocked by a judge. In a post on Truth Social on Sunday, Trump said the home countries of some of Harvard's international students are not at all friendly to the United States and pay nothing towards their students' education. He added that the administration wants to know who those foreign students are, and Harvard isn't exactly forthcoming. So here, Trump's latest attack against Harvard comes 2 days after a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking the administration from being able to revoke the university's ability to enroll international students. The university had argued that Trump's Trump administration's revocation was a blatant violation of the First Amendment and punish the school for rejecting the government's demands to control Harvard's governance, curriculum, and the ideology of its faculty and students. So, okay. So here's international students comprise about 27% of Harvard's student body and typically are ineligible for financial aid. So, so let's stop share here and ask, um, what is going to happen to Harvard and higher education from Trump's attacks, and what will be the outcome of this? And if you remember, this whole thing started even before Trump was elected with all the attacks on higher education. I mean, to be fair, the right has been attacking them for ever since the 50s, ever since youth culture started and protests started. The 60s started. They have decided that okay, the college campuses are, there's every single week there's an article like that. And this is an escalation of those ideas. But this is way beyond, it's obviously beyond criticizing what students are saying or doing. It's basically about wanting to control the curriculum. That's their goal. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen here. Harvard versus Trump. So interesting. I see it's a nice image. So I see Trump first. If you see an image of a like a college campus architecture, he's like shaking it like a, like a bear shakes a tree or something, like trying to shake it, really shaking it, trying to really disrupt it and weaken it. And I think trying to destroy it really. And then Harvard comes in and and so instead of collapsing, they fight back, they get bigger. And I see the president of Harvard. I think it happens to be a man. I think it is a man, or it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. But then they punch like boxing, and they knock out Trump, and they really go after him, and they don't give up, and they become stronger and stronger after this. And then I see that, but they like punch, 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 don't stop punching him. And then I see that he goes out, of course, of the government. And I see that Harvard actually sues others. So I'll tell you, um, I think I've said this before. These universities like Harvard, Yale, and others have endowments, and these endowments, a lot of times, they invest the money in different types of businesses, venture capital, private equity, different kinds of things. So then they get money back when there's liquidity events, right? So there's somebody you're probably familiar with, this man named Bill Ackman. He's just an awful person. And he started attacking all these universities when there were these protests against the Gaza war. And some people speculated that he was doing this because he wanted to force their endowments to invest in their funds, which because apparently Harvard declined to invest in his fund. So this happened, and and so I see that Harvard will eventually sue the people involved in attacking them. This is before, right, Trump, and not because they realize that they have to fight back legally against these mayor campaigns. So once Trump goes, they're going to go after these people. And I think Bill Ackman actually went to Harvard himself, but they're going to sue these people and show that this was a RICO situation. It's an organized crime in a way or another. It organizes attacks with the intent to destroy the reputation of Harvard and shake. It was like a shakedown. That's what it was. And so they will go all the way in the way that they fight back, and they will win. And what about, so there'll be a period of, yes, there will be a decline in the number of foreign students say who have signed up for American universities, but they will come back. Okay, because people are going to be scared. They right to send their kids. And a lot of times, guys, this is if you've had any university, you know that a lot of the foreign students are very wealthy people in their countries. It's not as if they're coming here needing some sort of money or anything. Only the very wealthiest people in any country come to study in the US if they're not immigrants. Does that make sense? When their families live there. So it's not at all, they're essentially Trump is attacking the wealthiest because these are the elites of all these countries, because these are the kids that come here, not the impoverished. They are not like immigrants in the sense that they're poor or anything. Okay, so it's really disturbing, but it will be, I think it will ultimately strengthen these universities, and then it will do something that I think should be looked at, which is the way that these universities are supporting a lot of these VC funds. Have some of these far right fascist people that are against education, and yet they're investing money in these companies. So they have to stop doing that. Okay. Because it's effed up. It's truly effed up, right? So that's the story. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So this is it. So I think this is it for today, guys. I'm going to continue. And I just wanted to look at some of the things that are happening. And then I'll do more. I want to do some cards one of these days. Maybe later today I'll do another video. Okay. So 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 that's that. But let's see, I still want something. I think I'm looking for something positive to hold on to. What is going on? It's saying that all these things, it will ultimately collapse. It will not last long. It's saying it's scary because it takes over our lives. They're working really hard to destroy the stability of the American people, if there's any, right? Life was already hard before then, but at least you could sleep. I saw a comment that said, "Oh, Biden was sleepy, but at least we could sleep. We could sleep at night." Right now, it's a situation where we are all under attack. This is their government. So, I have an idea. Let's end with a video of Biden, people clapping for him at the airport. Okay. Just 1 second, guys. I need to.
Thank you, sir. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so that was nice. It's always heartwarming because you see that when something like this, it was so spontaneous. It wasn't something planned. Nobody knew that he was coming through. People just started clapping, and this is how they really feel about him. Okay. So I get that it's going to be okay. That's what his message is. Kamala's coming, and things, it will not last forever. It will not last much longer. Okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna stop here. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. I'll keep doing the daily videos going forward. All right. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Prayer and energy time. Let's use this time to send energy to people healing and going through complex health challenges. Their bodies need the energy we send them. Bo, recuperating from intestinal surgery at the Mount Sinai Hospital, battling cancer and winning. I spoke to her today. and I felt her mother telling me she will survive and thrive. Cecilia, her sister, visits her daily. Cecilia is herself also battling cancer, and she's also winning. Bella is also undergoing cancer treatment. Let's envision her pain free and 100% cancer free. Treatment. Let's send Bo, Cecilia, and Bella energy. Bo, Cecilia, and Bella are fully healed, full of energy, cancer free, and proud to tell this story of great health and recovery. Okay, so just going to be silent for a bit as I send them energy right now. And I hope you do the same. And also, you can think of others that you know, your loved ones, someone that you feel may be in need of energy, and focus on them. Okay? Okay, so let's start. I'll be silent here for a little bit. Thank you again. Let's create this circle of energy around them. And so it is.